Man, Dan really wasn't impressed with the whole Giannis chicken free throw thing.
Do you think he got it?
I don't think he got it.
Like, I think it was going, but he wasn't really like focused in on exactly what was happening.
It's a crazy story, man.
It's unreal. It makes me think he's tanking.
It's gotta be.
Tanking free throws for free chicken.
Guy shoots 64% usually in the fourth quarters. Unless chicken's on the line, it's down to 20%. Like, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
Is he even taking advantage of said chicken deals?
Absolutely. You saw him with the QR code?
I know. But you think he's got a finite amount of time in a city, right? And then you miss the free throws. Hey, you're on to Chicago the next night. You're not even in the same place.
We stopped the bus on the way there.
Oh, wow.
Get some chicken.
He's got it like that.
Yeah. Welcome to Oddball. I'm Amin. That over there is 10-Day Tony from the Dan Le Batard Show. He's filling in for Izzy Gutierrez today. Remember, today's episode is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. And Tony, I'm going to start with a topic that I know you're hot on. I know you had lots of opinions. You wanted to get to it, so we're going to get it out of the way first. Knicks steal Game 4 win from the Pistons in Detroit, 94-93. Tim Hardaway Jr. picks up an offensive rebound in the corner, takes a corner three as time expired. There's contact with Josh Hart, but no call is made. After the game, David Guthrie, the crew chief of the game, spoke to the pool reporter and admitted that the refs made a mistake, saying, quote, after post-game review, we observed that Hart makes body contact that is more than marginal to Hardaway Jr., and a foul should have been called. Tony, should a foul have been called?
Yes. The problem is I know why you don't call it in that situation, right? 10 seconds left. You do not want the Zebras to determine the game and the way it finishes. And I know your take on it, right? You feel like maybe Timmy went a little bit over to try and sell it. Of course. Man. I feel like the flail happens post hit to the body when Josh is trying to get around him and not foul him on the arm on the actual shot. And he kind of gets him in the ribs on the side, which is when Timmy starts flailing and then tries to get the call. I want to go back 5 seconds before that when Cade gets to his spot.
Yep.
And it's happened a couple times this series where he gets to that spot, that little elbow jumper that he hits at a very good pace. And then all of a sudden just clanked it off the side. And then that's when the action starts in the corner. But for me, Cade has been, it's tough. He's been very good this series. I don't know if he's been the best player of the series. I know Jalen's been up and down. I know Cat had that disappearing act in the fourth quarter of game 1, I think it was.
Game 1, yeah.
It's like, Cade has that level where it's like, oh, I see it. He's right there, but those shots are going to fall further, closer into his.
We're watching him learn in real time. We're watching the Pistons learn in real time. I think the same thing when I watch Oscar Thompson, like some of the turnovers he makes. I'm like, oh, kid, you're going to learn to slow down and as opposed to just dribbling as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Same thing defensively. Sometimes they get out of position because they're too overzealous, but going back to the foul call, I just don't think Tim Hardaway Jr. went up, straight up and down, trying to make
natural
a shot.
Shooting motion, you're saying?
Yeah. He was trying to draw contact. The other part is we've watched the entire playoffs, we've watched this entire series, and we watched that entire game. They were letting a lot worse go by. So the expectation that they're going to bail you out with a call in that scenario, I would have limited expectation for that. The reality is, again, there were certain things down the stretch that they did not execute on, and that's why they were in that position to begin with. I do want to ask you a question that a lot of people have been saying, which is they didn't like that David Guthrie, the crew chief, came out and admitted that they were wrong, that they made the wrong call. How do you feel about that? About the league or officials owning up to mistakes rather than just say live with it, go on to the next day?
It's almost like when you're dating a girl and you think something extracurricular may have happened, but you can't really
prove it.
Yeah. And then you hear by a friend of a friend like, oh no, yeah, she was playing you. And you're like, I knew, but I didn't need to know.
Yeah, I didn't need confirmation.
I didn't need
Let it be a mystery in my head.
Exactly. Let me think for an angle. Maybe she didn't. David Guthrie, I know you were right there. You didn't have the guts to make the call. Don't tell me now 2 minutes later.
Right.
Hey, yeah, you know what? I missed it. And I should have put Timmy on the line for 3 shots.
Look, I have a real strong theory on this. Get rid of all challenges. Get rid of every review that's not out of bounds, goaltend, shot clock violation, or inside versus outside the restricted area. cut and dry. As soon as we start
How
getting
about backcourt? Because that was another situation in this series, a game and a half.
Backcourt to me is like out of bounds. Like these cut and dry, like, oh, I just watch the tape. Oh yeah, no, he stepped out of bounds, or he stepped in the backcourt, or they touched the ball.
Out on him, right?
Whatever. Like, well, as soon as we start going into the judgment calls, right? Of like, did he foul him? I don't know. Like, or the other one is as soon as we start going to Phantom Cam, Sky Cam, Hawkeye, the drone shots to figure out whether Anthony Edwards
that was crazy.
I'm just like, guys, no. Like you made a call, stick with the call. Sorry, you can't challenge. And if someone wants to go to Bruder Film and find the angle that has all that, then fine. But I think all of this slows the game down and it ruins the pace of the game and it ruins kind of like the flow of it as a product that we watch.
And the other thing too is like the NFL has it right in a lot of respects, but in this, it's not like, hey, I'm gonna say that this guy stepped out of bounds at the 3-yard line, but we can't say that he also got interfered with, so we're gonna call the pass interference now.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what happened basically in the Anthony Edwards LeBron situation where it's like, oh no, there was out on Anthony Edwards, but it's actually a foul on LeBron, and we're gonna call it a foul on LeBron. What?
Get out of here with all that.
It's crazy.
We'll get to that in a second. I do want to give you a different theory about the end of that game. This comes to us from friend of the show, Sam Morrell, very funny comedian, very big Knicks fan. He said that no call is payback for the 4 years, $71 million Tim Hardaway Jr. stole from the Knicks.
So I know you'll know this because you've lived long enough to see it happen. So Timmy Hardaway Jr. and I played against each other in high school.
Yes.
Right. He played at a rival school that we went to. And I remember seeing him get drafted that night where I was in like JUCO and I was like, damn.
There go for the grace of God.
I was like, okay, so that's what an NBA player looked like and played. Oh, okay, gotcha.
What was he like? What was he like in high school? Like as a player?
He was unstoppable.
Really?
Like unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like he would get to any point on the floor he wanted. 6'6", so he'd rise up over anybody, hit shots from half court, hit shots from everywhere. So he was unstoppable. But the thing is, you don't usually have close proximity to somebody who's getting that kind of money.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do like a 3 for 10.
Dog.
Like I had 25 on Timmy that night. He had 45, but whatever.
This is one of my favorite NBA stories. When Jerry Stackhouse was coming up on his free agency, this is right, I think he's in Philly or whatever. And Michael Jordan had just gotten like the $32 million a year deal or whatever. And Jerry Stackhouse said, look, man, I'm not as good as Michael Jordan. I'm not saying I'm Michael Jordan. Let's be clear here. Are you telling me I'm not half as good as Michael Jordan? Like that's 16, 16. You can't work with me here. Same thing here. It's like, look, I'm not Tim Hardaway Jr., but I mean, like
I could be AJ Green. You can put me on the back of the bench. I can shoot a couple of threes. Give me 3 for 7.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of unstoppable, like Tim Hardaway Jr. in high school, Karl Anthony Towns was unstoppable in the fourth quarter. He scored the last 5 points for the Knicks. He celebrated with Spike Lee postgame, which I love you, Spike, but enough, man. Enough. You're not on the team, man. Just be a fan. Let them do their thing over there. This has been the best playoffs of Cat's career. I think this has more to do with him having awful playoffs before than this one being phenomenal. But he's career high in points, career high in 3-point percentage, like across the board. These are the best numbers he's put up. Is this Karl Anthony Towns has finally arrived as far as like matured, or is this I'm playing against children?
Cat's a weird case, right? Because he has the disappearing act in the fourth of game 1. And we've talked about it. Like, it's sometimes tough to get into the flow of the offense being a big where you're not ball dominant, right? You have Giannis who's ball dominant. You pick.
They're bringing the Jokic. These guys are bringing the ball up.
You're bringing the ball up. Cat doesn't do that maybe on a one-off fast break where he's kind of running point. But for him to get the ball, the ball needs to exchange a couple different hands to get in there. And it feels like he's been able to create outside of back to the basket, let me post up, let me hit a little fadeaway, this and that. So for me, like it has been, right? But is it the separation from Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert and just kind of the muck that was happening in Minnesota? Or is it now him being with Jalen Brunson? They don't really have a number 2 option.
Yeah.
So it's like, that feels to me like more of it.
I think that's a lot of it. I still go back to, man, it's like, you're doing this against the Pistons. This is like, as however terrified as Cat is during the playoffs, like these guys are more terrified. Yeah, because they're even more clueless, right? So there's an element of the. Let me put it this way: has anything that you've seen in this series from him or even anyone else on the Knicks gives you any confidence that in the next round against the Celtics they'll be ready?
No,
right? Like
no.
that's my thing, and it's like And to be honest with you, there's nothing I think they could do that makes me feel like, oh, you're ready for the Celtics now. Because your opponent is the Pistons. It's like saying, hey, I fought against Mike Tyson and he knocked my ass out 4 times. Or 3 times he knocked my ass out, and 4th time I lost on a scorecard, right? Unanimous decision. Right? But then, okay, in order to train for my next fight with Mike Tyson, I went and beat up some 12-year-olds. Like, sure, if the 12-year-old beat you, we'd be like really concerned. But you beating up the 12-year-old does not make me feel more confident about the Mike Tyson fight. It's just like, okay, this doesn't mean anything.
Like you were supposed to do this.
Yeah.
You were supposed to beat up on guys that had never been in that spotlight before. The thing is, when you get to the next round where you're playing the defending champions, even though they're kind of battered and bruised, so are the Knicks, right? Like the Knicks are also battered and bruised. They have been kind of up and down all year with injuries and stuff with Jalen and with OG and with you name it. Like they've always had something this season. But it's like, I don't know if what we're seeing from them defensively is going to step in and be that next series and be like, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
You had problems with Tobias Harris, man. I'm sorry.
Tobias Harris had 22 and a half. Yeah. You don't think Jason Tatum was on an absolute roll the last couple of games that he's not going to put up 40?
Yeah. All right. So I got to ask this question. Our producer, Gabe, came up with this one. And it's actually, he asked me and I was like, oh, that's a dumb question. And I thought about it. I was like, actually, I don't know. He asked this question. Who, based on where these two teams are doing in the playoffs, they're both up 3-1 in their respective series. Who won the cat trade between Minnesota and New York?
Damn.
Right? Like, it's like, I wanted to dismiss it. And then I was like, I mean, it's kind of working for both of them, right? Like the Timberwolves with Randle. He's been Randle. He's played exactly like Julius Randle, but it's working. And it started, oh man, who was it? I was talking to somebody at the Lakers-Wolves game last week in LA. And they were telling me like midway through the season, Randle basically realized, oh, like I can't carry myself the way I was carrying myself in New York. I either got to get in line with this or be on the outside looking in, especially as someone who's got a player option coming up who's trying to play up his value. And so ever since he kind of bought in, that's when it started taking off for them. DiVincenzo, you know, me and you, we know the exploits of DiVincenzo.
The Milwaukee GOAT.
Quick story. When the Bucks won the championship, me and Tony went to Milwaukee to do a segment there. And everywhere we went in the city, it was like these big posters. It was Giannis, it was Chris Middleton, and then Dante DiVincenzo was the third of their big three everywhere. Not Drew Holiday.
There was a painted picture of him at the AC Hotel.
At our hotel. It was like someone commissioned an artist to paint a portrait of just Dante DiVincenzo. But so anyway, they've been great for the Knicks. And then like over here, Karl Anthony Towns, we just said he's having the best playoff of his life. Who have you had to pick, or did they both win? Is this it's happy?
It's the rare double win, like Indiana Pacers, Sacramento Kings double win trade, where like they got Halliburton, they got Sabonis, and it's like everybody's kind of happy. It just feels to me that Julius, when he was in New York, thought he was 1A. He never saw Brunson as this is 1A. I have to, make sure that this guy's doing his job. Then I can fill in. He knows where he's at the pecking order in Minnesota. Yeah. He knows who's 1A. He knows who's getting the shots. He knows who's going to create. It's Anthony Edwards.
You know, it's crazy. That's the same thing that happened to Karl Anthony Towns when he was in Minnesota. There was like those first few years were like, what's going on? And then as soon as Anthony Edwards showed up, I was like,
this is the guy.
It's just like, it's crazy because some of that is his talent, Anthony Edwards' talent. It's just so undeniable. But I think a lot of it is like, he's a great leader. He knows, like the stuff he was doing for Cat last year was like, come on, man. You can't get in foul trouble like that in the podium or in the press conference. Yeah. Now he's doing that stuff for Randle. Right. And I'm like, I see it. He's running like a play here. And I'm like, I like it. And I think it helps. What doesn't help, at least empirically, is playing 5 guys 24 consecutive minutes in the second half. That would be the Los Angeles Lakers. They lost to the Wolves 116 to 113 in game 4. There's a lot going on there, right? But I want to start with this. JJ Redick became the first coach in the play-by-play era to play 5 players for an entire half in the playoffs. It was LeBron, it's Luka Doncic, it's Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and not starter Dorian Finney-Smith. The starter was Jackson Hayes, who played the first 4 minutes and never came back.
Rolled the pine, yeah. Smells like pine sol.
So I know Dan was talking about it on the show. He was asking like, oh, well, if they'd won, it wouldn't be a big deal. But I'm like, it is a big deal. It's hard to separate those two things, right? The fatigue of playing all those minutes without a break and their offensive struggles down the stretch.
And the other thing too is which wasn't mentioned on the show, Luka Doncic was 36 hours removed from having food poisoning, from throwing up, from getting treatment and sleep. Like he was not himself. And then you've got 40-year-old LeBron James on another basically 37-hour turnaround time of playing a Friday night game and a Sunday afternoon game. So you have all of those things that we think, oh, it's LeBron. Like, he'll be okay. Oh, it's Luka Doncic. He's one of the greatest players that we've ever seen. Like, he'll be okay. And then you run into the ground of, all right, I'm going to play these 24 minutes, which sounds not that much, right? 24 minutes. Like, I can play the 24 minutes. It's not game 7 of the NBA Finals. Right. There's not another game after this if you're playing that style. This is only game 4 of the first round.
Yep. Now, I mean, the good news is they have until Wednesday before game 5, but still, like, especially when the other side is not playing with the same logic that you're playing, right?
The same desperation.
Right. So Chris Finch is like, no, I'm going to play Nas Reed here, and I'll play Dante DiVincenzo and Mike Conley, who was out earlier in the game. I'll bring him back in. And Rudy Gobert, who like he was out now. He's playing enough. There's only 3 guys. I think it was McDaniels, Edwards, and Randle played 12 straight in the fourth. But again, they all got their breaks and their breathers earlier. And I think this is the part where JJ Redick needs to be better at finding those spots where he can steal rest for the guys. The other thing I want to bring up, and I know we're going long here, but we talked about the crazy
the phantom cam.
This angle to let us know that Anthony Edwards actually got fouled by LeBron, even though LeBron said, hey, wrist is part of the ball.
He had that. I think he had that too when in game, what was it, game 2 of the 2012 NBA Finals where KD was going up for a shot. LeBron hits him on the wrist. They don't call it, and they end up winning the game, winning the series. Well,
I mean, he does have a big hand. So, like, LeBron's thing is like, yo, I got his hand. It just happens that my hand is so huge.
Also over here.
He gets his forearm, too. But I'm like, if this is how we overturn the call, man, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I know people are going to be upset, and they're like, oh, well, if everyone at home can see it. First of all, no one at home saw this.
In that replay, in slow motion.
We didn't know that camera existed.
Exactly.
We literally, as a nation, we discovered this camera angle.
Where is that? It's on the roof?
I was picking my nose for half the game. I've been watching the whole time.
It's the part that is upsetting for me is that you can call something that was seen there and not called on the floor. Like, if it was called a foul, okay, I understand. You're reviewing it, whatever. Yeah. It was called out of bounds, and then you're going to go back and retroactively call it a foul? We need to do better.
Quick question. Is the series over?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk Rockets, Warriors next. All right, welcome back to Oddball. Amin Hassan, 10-day Tony filling in for Izzy today. And, man, the Bucks, when it rains, it pours, right? Not only did they lose game 4, 129 to 103, it was a pretty handy blowout. They're down 3-1 in the series. But the really big news for them, Damian Lillard reportedly ruptures his Achilles. This is according to Chris Haynes. Fear is Bucks star Damian Lillard suffered a left Achilles tear, brutal circumstance after working himself back from a blood clot diagnosis that kept him out over a month. It's 1 year to the day from when he strained his Achilles in game 4 against the Pacers.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? So, look, Tony, I think we both know when it comes to Achilles ruptures, you're done. You're not just done, obviously, for the rest of these playoffs. You're probably done for the entirety of next season as well. And so if you're the Bucks, who they just re-signed their GM, John Horst, to an extension, you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's got an extension that kicks in next year. But you're surrounding him basically with a bunch of dudes. Is this the time where you start thinking about what's best for my future and is what's best trading Giannis Antetokounmpo?
This is a franchise-altering injury.
Yeah.
Because, like, they weren't close, as we can see. Right. They weren't close with Dame.
Yep.
Right? Like, at one point, they were the highest-scoring duo in the league, but then you play that out over 82 games and then into the playoffs, and it just never really clicked.
Right.
Now, Dame's out for, like you said, a calendar year. Yep. Not just this season, not just next season. Like, we'll see how he is.
I'll see you 26, 27.
Exactly. Yeah. And at that point, he's going to be what, 36, 37? I don't know how.
He's 34 now.
So figure 36.
Yeah. So by the time we get to that, he'll be probably around 36 years old.
And you're going to have a guy who's coming off blood clots, Achilles tear, all these different things. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
And I asked you this a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Knowing the Luka trade and knowing how much of a kind of debacle that was, what does a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo look like?
I think it's got to be the world, right? And
it's everything.
And in a weird way, the Lillard injury gives you a license to do something that you probably wouldn't have considered before.
Right.
If Lillard were healthy, I think there would be a pressure, even if you felt like I got to trade Giannis. The pressure is not only get a lot of assets, but get me guys who can play right now, because now we're going to do this around Lillard until we figure out what the next thing is. With Lillard out, it's like, oh, this thing is a hole in the ground either way. So now I can go full on, just give me 8 million picks and young guys that might pan out. And that's where the Brooklyn Nets raise their hands. Say, I've got
we've got those.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got 5 I know from Mikal Bridges.
Exactly. Wow.
Just from Mikal Bridges. So think about that. Mikal Bridges got 5.
Yeah.
What does Giannis get?
Well, I mean,
10?
That should be the math, except Luka went for 1. So
and that's my point.
Yeah.
I don't think Horst is going to be like, I'm not getting got.
Yep.
The same way that Nico got, it is not going to happen to me.
It can't, right? Like, you can't, as a general manager anywhere else, live that down. I talked to John Ozarski, who covers the Bucks for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and he was like, I don't think he's going anywhere. But this is prior to the injury
trade, right?
So we'll see how it goes. It's a tough road to hoe for the Pacers. Obviously for the Bucks.
Pacers have been playing great, by the way.
Yeah, like, here's the crazy thing. If I told you, like, hey, who's a young guy for the Bucks that you can look forward to? Not even being a star, but just like, oh, this guy's going to be a part of what we're doing for years. I could probably name 2 names.
Yeah.
AJ Green, who's always going to have a place in this league, shooter, and then Kevin Porter Jr., who's played really well for them, but also guy with a checkered past, and that brings its own kind of difficulties with him. And the third guy, it's funny, pre-All-Star break, I would say, Andre Jackson Jr., he's starting for them. Dude, ghost. He's on the side of a milk carton. DMPs.
Him and Jonathan Kuminga, just like...
Yeah. Went from top 10 to not mentioned at all. All right.
Thanks.
It's time to play Hot Streak.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah. Hot Streak is presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all that has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Now, last week, we picked the Lakers -5.5 in game 4. Or was it game 4 or game 3?
Game 4.
Game 4. Okay.
Yeah.
We were on the wrong side of that one, so let's try it again. Tonight, we got a couple options. We got Rockets at Warriors tonight. Warriors are 4-point favorites.
Okay.
10 p.m. Eastern. They lead the series 3-1, right? Is that, or no, 2-1. 2-1,
2-1,
right? Now, the Warriors won without Jimmy the other night, 104-93 in game 3. And Steph was unreal, 36 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. He leads the series in scoring by a mile, but here's the crazy thing. If you look at the next 7 guys, they're all Rockets.
Yeah.
This is in total points. Jimmy Butler, to be fair, also has 28 total points for the series, but obviously he got hurt very early in game 2. But the news is that Jimmy Butler is expected to return tonight.
Do you like that?
I don't know. I think I would take my chances at resting him and trying to see if I can win without him another one. You're at home. You're up 2-1. I think you have some latitude there. But then again, Jimmy Butler is a gamer, so maybe. Now, while we're on the topic of Jimmy Butler, we got Cavs at Heat tonight. I'm going to that game. Cavs are 8.5-point favorites on the road. I feel like that's a little low considering how everything
I was going to say that feels generous. I might go DraftKings alt line and be like -15 for Cleveland. Like they've looked so good. They've looked so good. Darius Garland didn't even have to play the last game and they destroyed the Heat in Miami. This is a quote before that game 3 destruction from Tyler Hero. Quote, obviously I know I need Jimmy to win. If we had Jimmy right now, I feel like it'd be a complete different situation. We probably wouldn't have been an 8 seed. That almost feels like an NBA Centel quote. Yeah.
Right?
Did we get got?
I think
we got ball sack?
But if we didn't get got, and if this is real, do you think Jimmy would have made a difference in this series?
They would have been the 18 no matter what.
And they would have been down 3-0 no matter what.
We're in the same spot.
Maybe it would be more of a close game, kind of like Orlando-Boston kind of thing. But
maybe sneak one out. I don't think they get swept. Maybe they sneak one out. But the Cavs have been playing at such a high level. And exactly what the Cavs do is what the Heat sometimes have trouble with, their size, right?
Yep.
Like the only person who's going in there and grabbing boards is Bam.
Yep.
And if you've got Jared Allen, you've got Evan Mobley.
They're playing volleyball at the rim.
Who's grabbing rebounds?
All right, real quick. We got Rockets +4, Warriors -4, Cavs -8.5, Heat +8.5. Where are we going with this?
I'm personally going Cavs -8.5. I feel like that's easy.
I feel like it's light, right?
Easy money.
It should be like you said, the alt line.
It should be 10. Should be 12. I am also intrigued by Rockets +4.
Okay. Well, we'll take Cavs -8.5. Hey, Nuggets talk tomorrow. We got a special guest, Katie Wingy.